getting the remake that everyone was asking for. Should you be worried about Xbox raising prices? Xbox introduces the worst Xbox update. Xbox cancels this huge project. And what is going on with cloud gaming? Let's discuss. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Xbox Ready. As per usual, I've gathered a number of stories to share with you so you too can be Xbox ready. If you want to get your holiday shopping done early this season, check out the links down in my description because I have links to all sorts of stuff, games, consoles, accessories, you name it. First up, let's talk about some good news. Long story short, CD Projekt Red is up big time. Obviously, these are the guys behind a much beloved franchise with the Witcher video game series. And although Cyberpunk 2077 launched very controversially, people have grown to love it as well, including me. I just beat it the other day, had a great time. Not only are they killing it in the video game space, but they're also killing it in the television space. Netflix has done multiple projects with the Witcher TV series, including the live-action one starring Henry Cavill and the animated version that's centered around Vesemir. And Cyberpunk Edgerunners was so good. Disappointed that it's not going to be getting a season 2, but I'll be excited if they decide to revisit that universe with a different storyline. They also announced just a slew of new games that they're going to be working on, including a Witcher game that has a multiplayer component, including a new Witcher saga, a spin-off game that's not related to that new saga that doesn't involve Geralt, and then this one mysterious game that was just codenamed Canis Majoris. That game, turns out, is going to be a remake of the original Witcher game. Now, this is very exciting for a number of reasons. One, I am a huge fan of The Witcher myself. As you can see, I have my Witcher sword right here, steel for humans. But I think it'll be great for console players to finally experience that first installment in the Witcher trilogy. This game came out forever ago, and it was only available on PCs. I really do enjoy the plot of this game. It starts out with Geralt waking up with amnesia. He doesn't know where he is, what's going on, has no recollection of any of the major events that preceded this game. And then soon he gets embroiled in this plot that involves the Order of the Flaming Rose, these guys who end up stealing Witcher mutagens. It's crazy. Anyone who's a fan of the Scoia'tael and Assassin of Kings, I feel like is really gonna appreciate this first installment of the Witcher series because you do have an option to side with the Scoia'tael in this game as well. So they're not just slapping it with a new coat of paint, upgrading the resolutions, doing all the frame rate stuff, and then selling it for consoles. No, they are building it from the ground up with Unreal Engine 5. CD Projekt Red says collaborating with Fool's Theory on the project is just as exciting, as some of the people there have previously been involved in the Witcher games. They know the source material as well. They know how much gamers have been looking forward to seeing this remake happen, and they know how to make incredible and ambitious games. And although it will take some time before we're ready to share more about and from the game, I know it'll be worth the wait. So yeah, I'm sure this game is pretty far down the line in terms of a release date, but the announcement itself is super exciting. Finally, we're gonna have the Witcher trilogy all on consoles. And hey, maybe if people don't like any of these new Witcher projects that are coming out, they'll have old reliable to fall back on. Next up, Xbox may be hiking the prices of consoles and services and games. We talked about this in a previous video, but Phil Spencer recently appeared with Wall Street Journal Live, and he detailed, it's not coming soon, so definitely not this holiday season, but price hikes for consoles, games, and Game Pass could be a thing in the future. Now, obviously, that's never a fun thing to hear, especially on Xbox's side. It seemed like they were like the last stronghold, the last bastion of people who were like charging $60 for games still, while all the other platforms were raising their prices to $70. PlayStation obviously had that price increase of the PS5s in certain regions. So yeah, hearing that Xbox could be raising the price of hardware and games, it's definitely a bummer for sure. But here are my thoughts about it. I think definitely what's gonna come first is first party games are gonna be $70 instead of $60. I feel like that's the first increase that we're gonna be seeing from Xbox. And we haven't had a price increase on games in a really long time. So yeah, we sort of knew it was coming. $70, when I see a game like that, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I gotta look at some of these reviews, really judge whether or not it's gonna be worth the $70 before I commit, or I'm gonna wait until it goes on sale. I know it's just a $10 difference, but psychologically seeing $70 is way worse than seeing $60. $60 for some reason. Even after tax, buying a $60 game is almost to $70 anyway. It does sting a little less if they choose to raise their first-party games from $60 to $70 because all of that is available on Game Pass. So if I don't want to spend the $70, I just want to try it out, I can always play those games on Game Pass as part of my subscription. And for some games on my Xbox, I'm already paying $70 anyway, like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I have a strong feeling that if Xbox had their way, they would keep prices the same. And they've done a pretty good job of fighting the current these past 2 years so far, but I understand. It sucks. I think the big problem people have with paying for $70 games is that most of these games, pretty much all of these games that have come out over the past 2 years for this current generation, have been cross-gen. So it's like you're paying $70 for an upscaled Xbox One game, an upscaled PS4 game. But I feel like choosing to wait until, say, Starfield releases, and they say, okay, this is the true next-gen game that we're putting out. It's only available on the Xbox Series X and S, and we're gonna price it at $70. I feel like that's a little bit more acceptable, a little bit more understandable. In terms of console price increases, I have a very strong feeling that the Xbox Series S is gonna remain the same price. I feel like we don't have to worry about the Series S. The whole appeal, obviously, is the Series S is cheap, and I feel like they want to keep it that way. And it's been selling like hotcakes. We've been hearing rumors that over half of the people joining the Xbox ecosystem this generation have done so via the Xbox Series S. As for the Series X, I feel like they wouldn't go higher than the PS5 price increase, a $50 price increase. I feel like this would be a great opportunity for Xbox though. Say they raise the price of the Xbox Series X to $550, but then they introduce an all-digital Xbox Series X for $400. I feel like that's just a standard practice in tech right now. You give the premium option, and then you're like, okay, but here's the more affordable option. Xbox already did that with the Series X versus the Series S. Apple does it all the time with their stuff. Hey, here's the newest iPhone, but if you can't afford that, here's the iPhone SE. Just judging on their past behavior, I don't see them introducing a more expensive option without releasing some sort of alternative. And if they release an all-digital Series X, they wouldn't have to worry about releasing a Pro version of the Series S. The last thing, in my opinion, that they would raise the price on is Game Pass. We have the 2 tiers of Game Pass as it is, the standard $10 a month, and then Game Pass Ultimate for $15 a month. Now, I have long been speculating that whenever this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, that they'll raise the price slightly of Game Pass. Maybe not crazy, definitely not more than PS Plus Premium. More expensive than $18 a month? No, you cannot, no, can't do that. But again, if they chose to raise the price of Game Pass, I don't think they would do it without releasing some sort of alternative. I was talking to some people off camera, and we were slinging around some good ideas. What if Game Pass had an ad-based option? Like in Hulu, you get Hulu for cheaper, slightly cheaper, but you have to watch through ads. That is kind of a tricky subject because people hate ads, and the way they integrate them might be really obnoxious, so they would obviously have to be careful with that. One of the ideas I found most intriguing was Game Pass for a day, weekend tickets for Game Pass. Instead of doing the monthly subscription, paying for the whole month, pay only for the days that you use it for. Now that could end up being super convoluted, but we've seen games do this already. Hey, play Elder Scrolls Online for the weekend. It's free for the weekend. Hey, play Overwatch free for the weekend before it was free to play back in the Overwatch 1 days. So it could be a pretty cool thing to introduce weekend passes for Game Pass. A lot of working adults might appreciate that. A lot of adults with kids, because I only have certain pockets of time to play video games. Wouldn't it be cool if you could just pay for Game Pass on those days that you actually have available to game? This may or may not be the perfect time to try to get a Series X. We know through this holiday season, it's going to be safe. No price increases. Beyond that, we're not so sure. So a couple of weeks back, Xbox fans all around the world were super excited over the prospect of a new Xbox UI, a new Xbox dashboard experience. Suddenly everyone over Twitter and social media were sharing their own design concepts, saying, hey, I think it'd be really cool if the dashboard looked like this, or what if it looked like this? Those were really good times, and the Xbox came out and they were saying, yo guys, we really appreciate all of your feedback. We're implementing it in our own kind of pursuit of this update. We're having meetings where we're talking about the community feedback. And now we're starting to see this first wave of the new Xbox dashboard, and people are calling it just a glorified huge ad for Game Pass. That's literally the headline of this article on The Verge. I did like a whole video on this saying like, wouldn't it be cool if we had this? As long as it's just not trying to like force Game Pass down my throat. If you just relegate that to its own section, I'll be cool. And they were like, that's cool, Ray. What if you had Game Pass everywhere, all the time? No! This new look dashboard is available to certain Xbox insiders right now, hence why we're starting to get some insight on it. According to The Verge, they say the main interface now replaces the larger tile for the most recent app or game, with 6 tiles that are now all the same size across the top row. These are the latest apps or games, and I'm glad to see that Microsoft has removed apps like Settings and the Microsoft Store from appearing in this recent list, given you can easily access both from the new Xbox Home UI. That's pretty cool, and that's definitely something I talked about in my video. I don't need a Settings app to be a shortcut. I don't need that because I have a million different ways to access it. Same thing with the Microsoft Store. You can access it through the guide. You can pin it towards the bottom with your other apps. They have apparently cut down on the ads that they show on the main page. Tom Warren says, thankfully the main section now has only 2 tiles reserved for ads instead of 3. Progress. But once you scroll down, you'll notice this home screen is one giant promotion for Game Pass. And just looking through Tom Warren's video and other screenshots that other guys are sharing, the whole thing just feels a little too cluttered, which was something that I wanted to avoid. Xbox wants people on consoles to subscribe to Game Pass. Phil Spencer talked about this the other day at that appearance for Wall Street Journal Live, saying that he feels Game Pass subscriber growth on consoles has been kind of slowing down. It's kind of limited. So sure, they're trying to do everything they can to get every Xbox console owner to be a Game Pass subscriber. I get it, but is this the right way? There are some things I appreciate about this update. Less ads, no settings in Microsoft Store popping up in my most recently used apps. Sure, great. The rest of it being dominated by Game Pass, I don't know. If I go to the Game Pass tile or section or tab, whatever, sure, hit me with all the Game Pass stuff you want. But to have it right there blasted at me on my home dashboard, I don't know, guys, I don't know. This update isn't supposed to roll out until 2023, and Xbox is typically pretty good about listening to community feedback. So hopefully they tune into what the community wants, what they're saying, and implement that feedback before they roll it out officially in 2023. Next up, we gotta talk about Xbox Cloud Gaming. And it seems more and more that cloud gaming, especially for Xbox, is not a replacement for traditional console gaming experiences, or if you're gaming on a PC. When they brought Xbox Cloud Gaming to certain Samsung TVs, I feel like we were watching history unfold, man. Oh my god, a future where we don't need a console, an Xbox console, to play Xbox games. That's crazy. Jess Corden over at Windows Central did a whole write-up about it. And recently they just came out and said more than 20 million people have used Xbox Cloud Gaming to stream games. And that's a pretty impressive number, because I feel like not too long ago it was just 10 million. And then of course Fortnite was added to Xbox Cloud Gaming, so you could play it on your iPhone. It was kind of a tricky workaround. And then the user base just exploded, I feel like. We also saw a glimpse of Project Keystone on Phil Spencer's shelf, and I was super excited about that. I was like, whoa, this kind of like $100 Xbox console that's used for streaming only. Maybe not a replacement for my Xbox Series X or my PC, but it could be something, a cool supplement. Well, it turns out we're not gonna be seeing that prototype of Project Keystone anytime soon, or any streaming console from Xbox. Phil Spencer says, will we do a streaming device at some point? I suspect we will, but I think it's years away. Keyword, years. Which sure, that makes sense, right? I mean, cloud gaming for Xbox is only a couple of years old. Technically, it's still in beta. We have long discussed on our other 2 host editions of Xbox Ready that cloud gaming may just not be there yet to support full cloud gaming devices like Keystone, like these handhelds that have been coming out, the Logitech, the Razer one. The other day, I was playing Chivalry 2 on cloud gaming, and it was smooth. I was so impressed. I was like, holy crap, this is running really well. And then the day after that, I tried playing the same game on cloud gaming, and the damn game wouldn't even load. Yeah, I could definitely understand if I bought a dedicated streaming device, and one day I was able to play the game, no issue. The next day, I wasn't able to play it at all. I would be like, what the hell? I just spent $100 on this thing. I just spent $350 on this handheld. And it's like, no. It needs to be more consistent for sure. And from a business standpoint, I understand why would Xbox waste its time developing new hardware and shipping that out to consumers when they could just give it directly to them on the devices they already have, their phones, their tablets, their TVs, whatever. With everything that's happened, it seems that we just have to pump the brakes on our expectations for Xbox Cloud Gaming. Right now, it just seems to be a supplemental thing. You know, if you want to use it, great, it's there, but it's not the main event. I feel like that's a perfectly fine approach for now. There will be a time where you can play games without a console, without hardware, maybe beam them directly into your brain and just get the full experience, like no controller, full body, whatever. But today is not that day.